Hello, everybody. I am John Bird, and I am responsible for client development here at Infotools, and I am focused on Harmony. Harmony is our analysis and reporting platform. And as many know, Infotools and Harmony have been around for over 30 years, and we were acquired by Ipsos 3 years ago. What is exciting about this acquisition is the collaboration we have done with AI. We have integrated Ipsos Facto, an AI assistant specializing in market research, that Ipsos developed in-house into Harmony, and we are calling it Chat Harmony. This collaboration ensures your data security thanks to Ipsos's robust agreements with LLMs from Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic, among others. Today, we're going to talk about our AI curiosity and what compelled us to collide these two big data sets that we're about to share with you. The challenge with all the primary and secondary data sets that organizations have access to, it's often said that companies are sitting on a gold mine. Organizations already have access to multiple data sets, but many lack the ability to combine them and find patterns and trends that are even more valuable combined compared to when they are simply viewed separately. Harmony gives market research teams the ability to upload multiple data sets with common variables into the same project. We have harmonized two data sets, the New Zealand International Visitors Study, which looks at folks going into New Zealand, where they came from, what they did, etc., with Ipsos's Global Advisor Study, which spans 78 countries over the past 15 years. It's very interesting as it looks at personal situations such as job loss, most worrying topics like inflation and healthcare, and it combines that with country and economic situations. So is our country going in the right direction, for example? So for today I'm going to focus on three applications: our story-based AI, Quick Start AI tool, our new Chat Harmony interface, and last and definitely not least, what this means for our clients. And I hope to have an open discussion about this at the end. So thank you very much.
So here we are at the Harmony analysis tool. On the left, we have the project tree where we have the two different studies set up. We have the Global Advisor Study, so Global Advisor and its attributes. We have the New Zealand IVS study and its attributes, along with common variables of time, demographics, and geography. Those are the only three common attributes across the two studies. And then on the right is what we call the drop zone. So let's take a look at a story-based Chat Harmony analysis. First thing I would like to do is understand the most worrying topics for those folks in the UK. So I'm going to go into the Global Advisor project under Personal Situation, those most worrying topics. I'm going to drag that to my down. I'm going to go into my common variables. I'm going to grab quarter and drag that across. And as I noted, I wanted to make this the UK as my filter. So I'm just drag the UK into the filter drop zone. Things I also want to do, go into the modify menu. I'm going to go ahead and add significance testing at the 95% level. And I want to go ahead and change this to a 4, so it's looking at these versus prior year since it's quarterly data. I'm also going to sort based on the current quarter, and I want to visualize. A bit of an eye chart, but we're going to use Chat Harmony, so it's not truly going to matter. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my Ray story, and I'd like to take this second to thank Ray for all he's done for the industry. So now I am in the individual story, and I'm going to click on the Chat Harmony icon, and it's going to generate some quick insights. And there we have it. It's giving a quick little summary, and then it's a breakdown by healthcare, inflation, immigration control. But I could also ask follow-up questions. Say I wanted to ask, what is seeing the greatest increase? Go ahead and ask. It looks like inflation is seeing the largest increase, and I probably need to fine-tune my prompt because it looks like inflation took a huge increase back in the beginning of this study. So that's looking at a single project. Let's take a look at multiple projects. So let's look at the impact of job loss across countries and specifically how it might impact travel to New Zealand. So I'm going to take my year variable in my analysis. So there's a couple theories here. It could be that I lost my job and I'm just going to pack up and head to New Zealand, or it could be I lost my job and I can't afford to go to New Zealand. So let's figure out which one this is. So I've got my year. I'm going to go into the market here. So I'm going to go into origin. I'm looking at the top strategic markets. I'm going to grab Australia. Then I'm going to go into Global Advisor, personal situation. I want to look at job loss. So I'm going to grab the experienced job loss in the past 6 months. And I want to make sure I'll add Australia as my filter to Global Advisor. And from here, I'm going to go to Visualize. I do want to make this a multi-reference graph. There's a little bit of craziness going on with COVID, but I'm going to go ahead and add that to my Thanks Again, Ray story. Go into that Ray story where I've got everything arranged. So you can kind of start to see that as the experienced job loss decreases, there seems to be a relationship to the increased visitors. But I'm going to go ahead and click on Chat Harmony to get a quick insight, and it gives me a nice little summary. So it looks like there is a relationship between the two. I can even refine this. So if I wanted to look at eliminating or excluding the COVID years, I'm just going to add that prompt in, and it gives me a quick update. So it just pulls out, and yeah, it still shows that relationship between job loss going down and number of visitors increasing. So that was the story-based Chat Harmony. Now I want to go into what we're calling quick start tools. If I clear out my analysis and go back to just the analysis tool, you'll notice that in the upper right-hand corner, I also have the Chat Harmony icon. And if I click on that, still have some of my old analyses, but I have the quick start tools of Describe, Analyze, and Discover. I'm going to select Describe, and what Describe does is it goes in and it summarizes this project. So ideally, it's going to go in and say what's going on with, what's making up the Global Advisor study and what makes up the IVS study. And here it is. So it's looking at the IVS and the Global Advisor study, talks about how the data is organized, the weighting, the timing, time series, etc. So very helpful if you have multiple projects in a Harmony hub, so you can go into an individual study and get a good understanding of what's in there. The second quick start tool is Analyze. And Analyze is going to do a quick analysis of this overall project. It looks like it only pulled in the visitor studies, so I'm going to drop a prompt to remind it that these are two different studies. And the ideal response is the Analyze quick start tool will give me a handful, probably 10 different approaches, ways I could analyze. And this is definitely where the human comes in, is refining the prompt, but also looking at those 10 different approaches. And here we go. So it's recommending 10 different ways of looking this data. And I can simply say, yes, country of origin trends and visitor satisfaction. So I want to look at that. So let's look at 4, and it's going to run that analysis. So again, a little bit of prompt engineering, but also giving you definite ways to look at the data immediately. And there we go. Kind of talked about how it did the analysis and the findings. And the last one I want to look at is Discover. And Discover leverages Bayesian statistics to differentiate a target variable. The Discover's come back with age ranges as the dependent variable. So what this is telling me, those that are aged 25 to 34 that go to New Zealand, most differentiated by overnight on the West Coast region, pre-planning into New Zealand, origin was France. So that's interesting. But I really want to understand is looking at this by country of origin. So I'm going to drop can you make country the dependent variable? And it's come back and it's run the analysis just for the country of New Zealand or Australia. So Australians coming into the country tend to be male, household income is low, and then roughly the amounts that they're spending in country. So again, a little prompt engineering gives you the ability to refine the task. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my Chat Harmony as well as my project. And I'm going to go to just the ask question. So I can generally ask a question of these two different data sets, and I've got something teed up here. So it's similar to what I was doing earlier. I wanted to look at the relationship between unemployment or recently suffered job loss and travel to New Zealand. And it's looked at the data set, and you'll notice it's a very similar table, and it's done the exact same analysis. I now want to share with you our new Chat Harmony interface. It allows you to drag and drop a data file into the drop zone, ask questions directly of that, compare age groups and smoking preferences in this example. And it's going to go ahead and set up the project on the left in the project tree, as well as run the initial analysis and do the charting. Also gives you the ability to further filter the data. Say you want to look at 50,000 and above. My second example here is Also, the ability to drag and drop. In this example, I'm going to pull in these two card data files. One's a CSV and one's an SPSS file. And Harmoni will combine the two and set them up. And in this, I can either ask questions or examples like the quick start tools. And I selected the describe. And as it did before, it's going to describe the overall project. It's not doing the analysis, but it's going to set up the project tree. And it's going to tell me what this project is all about. So like the main categories, vehicle identification classifications, powertrain and technical specs, advanced driver stats, comfort, convenience, etc. So it just gives you a very helpful overview of the project. Next example, loading in a data file and being able to either answer questions directly or go in that quick start and do the analyze. So once again, I drag and drop the data file, it set up the project, I did the analyze, it's going to give me 10 recommended analyses, and I can easily go into this and select a specific analysis, as well as interact directly with the story by changing different filters and running the different analyses, as well as asking to run that fourth analysis of educational qualifications. It automatically sets up the appropriate chart and adds in significance testing, and once again allows you to further filter the data. Last one is looking at two dimensions files, an MDD and a DDF. I drag these two in, and as with the others, it automatically sets up the project into a single project. And in this example, I'm going to select the Quick Start Discover button, and it's going to run the Discover analysis. And again, setting up the project on the left and giving my analysis and my kind of summary on the right. So that is the highlights of our work with Chat Harmoni. We're very excited to be continuing on this.
So I've shared with you what we've been up to here at Harmoni. On the client side, they have fewer resources, fewer funds, and greater demands. I think every internal study we've seen sees that as true. They need a fast and flexible way to access multiple projects and suppliers. They need market research expertise and not a software company looking for a new business opportunity. Our business is truly nuanced. And imagine, the ability to look across your B, your C, and your product reviews programs, all from different sources for insights. I think these are truly exciting times, and I'm looking forward to the future.
John, it's doing a lot of interesting things with Discover and things like that. How much statistical knowledge, analytical knowledge does the user still need to have? Because we were still saying things like turn on significance testing and thinking about filters. And these are not concepts that everybody has yet.
Yeah, and I think that, when I look back at kind of our evolution, and we've been playing with this, and Jeff Lowe and I have been playing with this for a couple of years, and it's been fun to see the progress. And it's definitely learning as we go. And I definitely feel that there's a role for, the human in all of this. But to directly answer your question, I think the day is coming where you'll be able to ask the questions of the data set and get, statistically accurate responses back. That's what our clients want. They want a single location to go to where they can interact with data and, ensure that the data is relevant to the situation they're talking to, but also has that, statistical figure, that it's statistically accurate.
And so you made the interesting comment about talking to the data there. At the moment, is there a voice entry? Because one or two of those, I was looking at that thinking that would actually be much more comfortable if I could.
Yeah, it would be. There is not. I'm sure that's a great idea. I think voice is definitely the future of AI.
Yeah, I think things like the Chat GPTs and the Geminis are all pushing that forward because they're seeing more and more people at that end, bringing them in. And I guess one of the other questions, of course, is this only for really big projects like the New Zealand government can run?
No, most of the clients that we're piloting this with are looking at kind of standard segmentation studies or UNA studies, which if anybody's done those, which I'm sure we all have, that you can't create a report for a segmentation study because it just kind of spawns like all sorts of questions. So it's just a great resource for going in and saying, hey, what's going on with female mountain bikers in Boulder, Colorado, when you really need to get into the differences. And it's also, we're definitely doing it. Brand health tracking is definitely our sweet spot. Yeah. But I see segmentation in UNA as well.